It has become a tradition since we have had Trinity graduates to have one come to speak at how his or her experience at Trinity prepared them for what the Lord would call them to next in their continued pursuit of wisdom, purpose, virtue, and courage. It is one of the greatest joys to journey with children in their development from kindergarten through 12th grade and to see them grow into young men and women and have a continued relationship beyond teacher-student. Grant Wolf came to Trinity in 4th grade and grew from a boy to a truly fine young man in the Lord, and we were privileged with his parents to be a part of that. When I met him at 10 years old, I remember after meeting him with his parents walking away thinking, I would vote for him now for president. So, please welcome Trinity's class of 2014 salutatorian and Order of St. George recipient, Grant Wolf.
Well, good evening. Thank you so much, Mrs. Caddo, for having me back to speak. It is so good to be with all of you tonight. I am always refreshed to be among a community of believers who are pursuing truth together. My heart is really full of what I have seen, learned, and experienced as I've embarked on my college journey these past few months, and I am so privileged to be able to share some of my reflections and thoughts with you this evening. When a student leaves the nurturing environment of Trinity, they will be challenged, sometimes to their very core. In the classrooms, by dorm life, by the culture, by starting life over in a new community, or sometimes just the daunting task of having to do your own laundry. When I first arrived at SMU, I didn't know any other students. I didn't have a church family. I didn't have a car. It was a new state. It was a new city. Totally new environment. It took a concerted effort for me to reach out to others and to establish a new community of like-minded individuals. Naturally, I felt isolated and intimidated at times. The culture of residential life among newly liberated college freshmen made it difficult for me to find like-minded peers. The solace of the first few weeks made me realize just how desperately I need the Lord's influence in my life and how much I long for that influence. And so I began to pray earnestly for community and for confidence. And God was faithful to answer my prayers for fellowship. He gave me the courage to seek others out and confidence in my ability to communicate and interact with others. I found a terrific church. I made excellent friends in a campus ministry where I also get to participate in leading worship. And I plan on joining a Christian fraternity this next semester. Being surrounded by a community of Christ followers who care for one another and for me has been the foundational element of my college experience. I am truly grateful to the many faculty at Trinity, Mr. Weichbrod, Mr. Marringer, Dr. Phillips, Dr. Horner, Mr. Lee, and so many others who poured into me, who discipled and mentored me while I was here. They cultivated in me the dedication to seek Christ and Christ-centered community that has driven me during my time at SMU. Parents, be encouraged. The teachers here and the staff here at Trinity are invested in your children's spiritual well-being, and that will serve them well all of their lives. SMU has also presented me with an academic challenge. Pursuing a double major in classical music and in finance has required me to take a very heavy load of classes. But the work ethic and the ability to acutely focus on the task at hand that I developed at Trinity has enabled me to handle my course load with considerable ease. Whether it was writing papers, researching for projects, music rehearsals, practicing multiple hours of piano daily sometimes, I was able to systematically attack and accomplish whatever I needed to do. And I was encouraged because no matter how voluminous, no academic task daunted me. Trinity's academic demands more than adequately prepared me for the demands of college. And let me tell you, nothing, and I really mean nothing, can compare to the sheer terror of having to submit a 40-page thesis to the scrutiny of Mr. Weichbrod in order to graduate. But on a serious note, I, in retrospect, greatly appreciate the rigors of my studies here at Trinity. They taught me the value of diligence and prepared me to succeed in the college classroom. When my English professor declared on the first day of his class that it cannot be known whether God exists or whose definition of God is true, I realized what would be the most difficult challenge that college has to offer me. That's the inherent secularism and relativism which has unfortunately hijacked a great deal of universities in this great country. Yet this was also the challenge that over time I came to realize I was most prepared to confront. My professor went on during the course of the semester to assert innumerable ideas that I fundamentally disagreed with. Our course material ranged from the Communist Manifesto to feminist literature to criticisms of American exceptionalism and free enterprise, and numerous implicit and explicit criticisms of Christianity, conservatism, and objective morality. There were performances in some of my music classes which declared that white America is inherently racist, and what was supposed to be a wellness class suggested that we can choose our own gender. At first, I was surprised how pervasively secularism has infiltrated the university curriculum. At Trinity, there exists a fundamental agreement regarding which first principles make up an accurate worldview, an accurate perception of reality. And that's based on the dedicated and detailed study and discussion of the narrative of human history. There's agreement about the questions of morality, justice, theology, human destiny, all of these that are fundamental to having an accurate view of reality and the world. On the other hand, at university, secularism is the assumed foundation without challenge and with little examination. The unanimity of thought is achieved not by careful deliberation and examination, but by a predetermined groupthink mentality. Confronted by this, at first I felt like I had to defend everything that I believed, that I had to counter every single argument that was laced with half-truth. But then I remembered what the Greek philosopher Aristotle once so wisely said, that it is the mark of a truly educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. To entertain a thought without accepting it. This, my friends, is precisely what Trinity trained me to do. To hear a position espoused, to dissect through the layers of sensationalism, and to interact with the logic of the argument that's being made. Because I learned to think critically, I could move beyond the shock of having my convictions challenged, and I could perceive the content of the arguments. I wasn't drawn into the emotionalism of the conversation. I could stand back while participating, but still observe and identify those half-truths and those myths that were being advocated. And Trinity's training in rhetoric empowered me to choose my moments, to strategically interject questions that would open people up within that assumption of secularism and the conclusions that it yielded, to be a voice for reason, and to disagree without being disagreeable. Lest you be discouraged by the adversity that I've described, I want to encourage you that I am thriving at SMU. It's a world-class university. Forbes and Bloomberg Businessweek ranked the Cox School of Business, which I study in, amongst the best nationally and globally. And the School of Music was recently named by USA Today #1 nationally among music programs that live in universities. I have immediate access to the business school as a freshman as a part of the BBA Scholars Program. This semester, I'll participate in a research forum regarding the positive impacts of economic freedom worldwide. I have the opportunity to pursue my multiple passions, business and economics, founding a Young Americans for Freedom chapter, playing jazz guitar and classical piano, and participating in campus ministry. I was also blessed to have received a full-ride scholarship to attend SMU. Trinity molded me into the kind of individual who is capable of competing at this high level of academic pursuit. The skills and the disciplines that I cultivated here, being a truth seeker, a critical thinker, skillful communicator, diligent worker, and dedicated believer, have empowered me to aspire to and to subsequently achieve success in academia and beyond. And for that, I am thankful. Parents and faculty, I want to encourage you. Your sacrifice and your investment are worthwhile. Students, stay the course. Your diligence will be rewarded. God is leading each of us on a great adventure, and if we trust Him, And as Hebrews 12 says, run with perseverance the race that is marked out for us. We will find true fulfillment in him, in this life and in the eternal inheritance which he has so faithfully prepared for us through Christ Jesus, his Son. Thank you very much, and God bless.